Welcome to the Forward Think Tank podcast, a place of hope, inspiration, and education around holistic health and healing. I'm your host, Jamie Mazza, a holistic health coach, mental health advocate, and dancer. Join me as I share out-of-the-box conversations with integrative doctors, healers, and exceptional forward-thinking individuals thriving on the other side of their health challenges, as well as stories from my own personal healing journey. Thank you for tuning in. I'm so happy you're here. Hello, friends. Happy 2026. Welcome back to the Forward Think Tank. It has been a little bit. I took a much needed break to spend time with family and friends during the holiday season, and it was wonderful. Honestly, for the past few weeks, wondered if I was going to come back to this podcast. Sometimes you just feel like you run out of inspiration in the tank, but then in the most beautiful ways, you find it again. And I'm here to say that if you feel a little bit stuck in the mud in this new year, know that you're not alone. It's definitely something that I have been feeling mentally and physically. So I celebrated my birthday at the very end of the year. My birthday is December 29th. And I unfortunately spent it sick with the flu. I know everybody was getting sick. I was trying my best to dodge it and avoid it, and it royally sucked. I had full body aches, chills, fever that wouldn't go away. Eventually all my friends were talking about Zafluza, and I got that thinking it was going to nip it in the butt, and no, it lingered for over a week to the point where even as of this morning, I'm still coughing up some crap. While it was not ideal by any means, it was definitely a quiet week where I got to just let my body surrender. And I was almost like, okay, I have permission now to actually rest and do nothing. And I've been resting a lot. I've been giving myself a lot of grace in all of 2025 after both of my surgeries. I was feeling like, okay, what am I doing with my life? Where am I going? What direction am I headed? There are so many things that I want to make happen, and just kind of feeling like, am I ever going to get there? So if you are feeling that way, know that you have got some company. But I am here feeling a little bit inspired and refreshed. I just recorded a podcast with an incredible human and a friend of mine, Vanessa Rossetto, and I will be releasing that soon. And she is a really lovely, caring, thoughtful human, and she is somebody who keeps going. I was feeling really inspired after our conversation to start this new season off with a solo podcast. She asked me a really great question that I wasn't prepared to answer. This wasn't rehearsed. We had an organic conversation, but I had asked her if there's anything that she was not willing to tolerate after going through her journey of her breast cancer diagnosis, and she answered that very directly, and then she flipped it around on me, and I'm like, you know what? It's something I'm working on, but I am not tolerating my own bullshit anymore. I'm not tolerating this story that I tell myself of not being enough. And maybe that's not obvious. Maybe I come across as a strong, independent, got my crap together type of person. And often I can be. But this journey has humbled me in so many ways that I wasn't prepared for. And so I'm finding myself navigating a new body in many ways, a lot of shifts in my energy, and it kind of knocks you down and makes you wonder if you're going to be able to get back up. I get hit with the flu, so that's cool. But like I said, it was a time for me to sit and do nothing and surrender. And so I've come out on the other side, one, somehow with immaculate digestion, knock on wood that it stays that way, but whatever left my body with the flu, thank you, good riddance, has made way for things to start moving again. Because after some really intense surgery and treatments and all the things that I've done over the last couple of years, my digestion was not great. When you're not digesting things physically in your body, it makes it hard to digest things in life and in your mind because our guts and our brain are so connected. But I'm here with some questions that you can ask yourself if you're feeling a little bit stuck in the new year. It's a time of year where everyone's, I'm going to make all these resolutions and changes. And I have to say, my feed isn't really calculated seeing everybody's New Year's resolution. So maybe everyone's feeling how I'm feeling and they're like, I'm getting over being sick and I'm going to take it easy this year and I'm going to slowly reintegrate myself. And I don't need to make all these crazy changes. Here are some things that I encourage you to ask yourself to maybe lift you out of that rut. First of all, because we live in such a fast-paced world, a lot of us have kids we're taking care of or demanding jobs or, families or friends or obligations. We often put our bodies last, and our body speaks to us through symptoms or feelings. So if we are ignoring and not paying attention to that, sometimes those feelings or symptoms scream a little bit louder, right? I've talked about this before. I encourage you to spend a little time asking yourself, what is my body asking for? And how can I make space to give it what it needs this year? Is it more rest? Maybe that's going to bed a little bit earlier. Is it getting more movement in, getting outside more, getting more access to sunlight? Is it a sense of community and connection, spending more time with people, making more time to play? Eating differently? Only you know what that is. But often if we really sit with ourselves and ask our body what it needs, it will tell us. And oftentimes what we end up doing in this modern world is we end up numbing, we end up self-medicating, we end up, distracting ourselves with social media or watching TV or fill in the blank, mindless snacking, yada, yada. And that's really just suppressing what our body's trying to tell us. So I encourage you to spend a little bit of time, maybe before you go to bed, and ask, what do I need? What does my body need to feel good? And see what comes up for you. And then find ways to carve out a little bit of space to do that. Secondly, and this is a biggie, what stories am I telling myself? We often let our minds just run on autopilot in the background, thinking that it's normal. But it is up to us. We have complete control over the thoughts that we choose to fill our mind with. So what stories are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself you're not good enough? Are you telling yourself you're never going to be able to leave your job? Are you telling yourself you're never going to find a significant other, that job that you want to go for is never going to happen? Are you beating yourself up, or are you lifting yourself up and being your best friend and being your biggest cheerleader? If you're not feeling good about the story you're telling yourself, what would I feel good about telling myself? What would make me feel great? And sometimes you need to fake it till you make it, but spend a little bit of time every single day. And I try to do this the first thing I do when I wake up. And it's not something I've been doing consistently, so I'm saying it now. You're holding me accountable. With the autoimmune situation, I think I've shared about this on social media, I recognize that there is a disconnect in the body. The body is not recognizing itself and attacking itself. And instead of attacking the invader, it's attacking your own tissue. So there's a disconnect. There is a distrust. There is a missing piece in that situation. And part of it can be perceived, I think, as self-love and self-acceptance. So I have been looking myself in the mirror, telling myself, body, I love you. I know you know how to heal. I'm going to get out of your way. I'm going to listen, and I'm going to fully support you and do whatever it is you need to thrive. And I really do think that my body is listening. So I encourage you to examine the thoughts you're having and then ask yourself, if these are just stories that I'm telling myself, what story would I want to tell myself to feel better? And choose that thought, and then choose it again and choose it again. Because the more you focus on quality beliefs, the more you're going to behave as if that belief is true. And then if you're behaving like that belief is true, you're going to become that person that you want to become. And that is a little takeaway from Joe Dispenza's method. Believe, behave, become. And I love it because it is absolutely true. What are some areas of my life that I'm looking to grow in right now in this new year? And what might that look like? So for me, there is a lot that my husband and I want to change. I stepped back from work this last year, and it's definitely something that I want to get back into is finding my way into, the right pace, the right type of work. And I ideally would love to support people and do more coaching again. But, we also want to start a family. So we need to figure out how we're going to get there. We want to move out of the city. There's a lot of big things that I want to shift around and make happen. And what might that look like? And then I think a good follow-up question is, are there people in my life that I can be connected to that I admire who are living these areas of growth that I want to achieve really well? Because we can always learn from example. So if you've ever heard the quote, you are the sum of the 5 people that you surround yourself with the most, surround yourself with people who inspire you. Surround yourself with people who are doing what you want to be doing and learn from them. And then adapt from there. Make time to connect with those people this year and start small. It's a really little step in the right direction to reach out to somebody and say, do you have time to grab a coffee? Or, hey, do you have time to chat? I would love to learn more about XYZ. And I really admire what you're doing in this space, or the way you handle your family, or, the way that you parent, or the amazing career path that you've laid out for yourself. I would love to hear more about that. People love to talk about themselves, and they also love to share, and we love to help each other. We're here, human beings, everyone's first time on earth. We're all learning as we go. Where am I resisting change in my life, and why? And I am somebody who can stick my feet firmly planted in the mud and really resist making changes. And sometimes I think that is discomfort and, maybe anticipation of growth and of things getting uncomfortable. I think, again, just for lack of better terms, nobody really likes to feel uncomfortable. We all like our comfort zone, and that is sometimes why we don't change. But I think I've learned that the people that I admire the most are the people who consistently take action, consistently make changes in their life, consistently evolve and grow, and continue to do new things. Because life is all about learning. Life can be really exciting. Life can be full of opportunity if we just look at it a little bit differently. So where am I resisting that change, and why? And get really clear with yourself. And you might realize that the reason why you're resisting that change is the story that you're telling yourself that's not true. What do I want to learn this year? That alone could get you unstuck. And I think some things that have come up for me, especially after having a hard time after surgery, trying to figure out what clothes to wear, I want to learn how to sew. I used to know how to sew when I was younger. I learned with my grandma, and, she's no longer around, but I learned on a sewing machine and I really enjoyed it. And I think I can make myself some pretty badass clothes. So I would love to get in touch with things that I used to do when I was younger. Playing the flute. I ended up buying a flute at the beginning of this whole health journey, knowing how incredibly powerful music is as a therapy. And so then I realized that I don't remember how to play the flute, and I don't remember how to read music. So that is something that I really want to learn this year. When we think about learning, it expands our mind and our perception of the world, and we can behave as a novice again and be a kid again and have a little bit of a sense of adventure, and it takes the pressure off of us needing to be perfect. I think when we can humble ourselves and learn something new, it creates new neural pathways for us as well. So we are actually growing our brains and our perception of what is possible, which is really always inspiring. Who can I surround myself with that will encourage my evolution and my growth? This is a very important question to ask yourself, because those are the people who are continuing to better themselves. Those are the people who are often inspirational in their own right. And so I think if you can surround yourself with those change makers, surround yourself with those people who inspire you to be better and do better, you are going to be better and do better. And you are going to, take some notes from their book and you're going to apply it, as opposed to people who are stuck in their own patterns and people who, kind of that misery loves company. While that may keep you content, it's probably not going to keep you satisfied. My favorite question to ask: how can I make life more fun? I think in a situation like mine, I've learned that there's a lot of heaviness. There's a lot of reflection. There's a lot of thinking back on, how could I have done things differently? And you can't change the past. But what you can do is make lighthearted decisions in the moment that will bring your body a little bit of relief, that will feel good on your nervous system, that will bring you a little bit of peace and a little bit of comfort and a little bit of joy. Because having fun is the entire point. And lastly, and this is a really great question to ask yourself, because it puts you in the future and it makes your brain perceive as if things that you want this year have already happened. So my last thing to ask yourself is, what do I want to look back on this year and say that I'm proud of? And when you do that, again, you're thinking about these actions that have already happened. You're putting yourself in the future and saying, wow, I did that. So you're creating that possibility in your brain that you can achieve change. So spend some time there, spend some time in the future, spend some time acting as if these changes have already happened, and sit in that feeling, sit in that gratitude, sit in that moment of being proud of yourself. And what you're doing is you're telling your body that you can make that happen. Your brain is then perceiving that as a possibility. So then you just need to back up from there and say, what are the actions I need to take to move that forward? Even if it's just the smallest step in the right direction, one little action every single day. This is something that my husband and I have talked about a lot the last couple of weeks, is we just need to keep taking action. Consistent action is what moves the needle. And when you move the needle, you end up going in a different direction. And then if you're not happy, if you're not feeling fulfilled, if you're not feeling inspired, if you're telling yourself stories that don't feel good, you redirect, you make new changes, and you continue going. And I think when you continue the momentum, which is the opposite of being stuck in the mud, right? Stuck in the mud is like you're stuck in your tracks, you don't know which way to go, you're not taking any action. That stagnation can build up inside of you and can create anxiety, can create depression, can create a lot of bound up energy that doesn't know where to go. And so by taking a step back, starting really small, thinking about where you want to grow this year, thinking about what you want to learn, thinking about where you're resisting that change, letting go of the pressure and thinking, how can I make it more fun and how can I play, is where our imagination can then run wild, often where creativity comes in, often where inspiration gets put in front of you. And then we realize that maybe life is not so hard. Maybe we don't need to stress all the time. Maybe we don't need to just constantly be dreading things or constantly be worried. If we're living in worry, we're living in fear, it's probably because we're not taking action. We're just spending too much time thinking about all the possibilities that can go wrong. So instead, I encourage you to think about what could go right this year, because that is a choice, right? That thought is a choice, and it is a powerful choice. So take some time to think and put yourself in the future, put yourself at December 31st, 2026, and say, what do I want to look back on and say that I'm so proud of myself for doing that, and work backwards. So this is a short but sweet solo episode, a great representation of how I'm easing into my new year. And I am so excited to bring some thought-provoking, inspirational conversations to you on this platform. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it, send it to somebody who you think needs it. Please send it to a friend. Please leave a review, write a comment. Anything you can do to help this get in front of more people is ultimately the biggest blessing for me, because I want to continue to inspire others who are going through a healing journey, who are navigating the complexities of life, and who just need a safe space to land. So thank you for listening, friends. I'm wishing you the happiest, healthiest new year. I hope it is full of inspiration and fun and play and joy. And I will see you again soon.
Did you enjoy this episode? If so, I would appreciate you taking a moment to please leave a 5-star review. Every review helps visibility with this episode to reach more people. And I am on a mission to help people learn alternate resources to support themselves in their healing journey on their road to health. So please take a moment to leave a review, leave a comment. I read every single one and I respond back. And of course, the most helpful thing you can do is to share this episode. If you found it helpful, if you found it entertaining, please share it on social media, send it to a friend, a loved one, someone you think could find this helpful. It means the absolute world to me. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening, and I will see you soon.